Welcome everybody to another Basement TV interview. This is going to be the first of several interviews done by Basement TV. I am your host, of course, Basement Cat, and we'll be talking to DoA StarCraft from the DoA commentating scene in Korea. He just completed his first season of commentating, so we'll be mainly talking about how his experience in Korea has been over the last month. Hopefully you guys will enjoy the interview, and it is coming right now. He's the newest face in the GSL commentary scene, just completing his first season as a DoA caster. I'd like to welcome to the show for the first time ever, and hopefully will be a consecutive guest on this show. I have Eric Longquist, aka DoA StarCraft, and I'd like to welcome you to the show. How's it going?
Hey guys, I'm super happy to be here. I think I've had your YouTube channel linked in mind for a very long time, and yeah. I know you're a good commentator, so I'm happy to do the interview for you.
You flatter me. You flatter me. Of course, everyone.
Good sir.
Yeah. Of course, everyone trying to improve their commentary. How did you first get into commentary? I know we covered it in the Cat's Pajamas video, which of course it will be linked to this video down below. But just once again, how did you start in commentary, and what really inspired you?
Well, I would have to say, well, I started playing SC2 in the beta. I had played StarCraft 1 quite a bit. Never really knew there was too much of a pro scene out there, but I played it with my friends for 10 years, you know, basically. But then the beta came out for StarCraft 2. I really got into it. I absolutely loved the game. But after a couple months, I kind of realized that I wouldn't ever have time, you know, with like a full-time job and being married to become like a pro player. You know, I just didn't have the time to sink into that. But then at the same time, I started watching commentaries by like HD and Husky, and heard about the Day 9 Daily and all that, and saw them doing that, and I thought, hey, that looks like a lot of fun. I've done radio in the past, and kind of worked in television production a little bit, so I thought, hey, I'll just try commentating, see how it goes, and I guess it's gone pretty well.
Yeah, I remember the first time I actually saw your channel. I mean, you only had like I don't know, 20 subscribers or something like that, and I was like, who's this guy here? And I went and started clicking on a few videos, and I was like, one thing I really realized from watching your videos was how smooth and cohesive you are when you talk, and that's something I've been really trying to improve with my commentary, because whenever I commentate, it always either comes off as goofy or sporadic, so I'm trying to calm that down just a little bit, maybe lessen the sugar intake before a cast, and make sure I have a full night's sleep. But that's something I really appreciate from your cast, and it definitely shows that GSL made a really good decision in hiring you as their DoA commentator, because one of the big things is that a lot of people have been giving you great reviews. I mean, since day one. I mean, Artosis, Tastosis as a whole, I'm sure on day one got a lot of negative reviews at first. It's like, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. I mean, probably one of the guys that got the most flame was the Observer when they first started using a third-party observer. I mean, that was a huge flame war for the longest time. But I mean, we didn't see any of that with you. Honestly, it was like, hey, this guy's kind of cool. I really appreciate them hiring this guy. I mean, everyone knew that it was going to happen, and I think everyone appreciates that. What a good job you've done so far. So, coming to Korea, how hard was that for you? How did you decide, and what was the process of going to Korea? You mentioned that you were married. How tough was that?
Well, it was kind of a tough decision. The wife and I, she's hugely supportive. So I have to, of course, shout out Juliana, my wonderful, lovely wife, who's supported me coming out to Korea to do this. But basically, when I saw that GSL had kind of an opportunity where you could send them a link to one of your casts to possibly cast GSL, she and I talked about it, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get this, but if I do, you know, would it be okay if I went to Korea and did this for a couple months and just kind of see how it went? And she said yes, so I applied, and it ended up working out. So then after John emailed me, basically, then the question was financially, you know, is it viable? Because as much as I, you know, love casting StarCraft 2, I wouldn't have been able to do it if it would have put my family in financial jeopardy. So luckily, that's all worked out very well. So that's kind of how it all came to be. So here I am.
Yeah, here you are after one season of GSL.
Yeah, a couple days.
Yeah, and right now they're in the GSTL as well as the World Championships. One question: the World
GSTL.
Championships are.
Go ahead.
Oh, wait, no. First, go ahead on the GSTL. What do you have to say about that?
Well, the GSTL is amazing. I mean, I love the team league stuff. I may even like it a little bit more than the individual player stuff. Actually, I'm still kind of deciding on that. But it has been so much fun seeing that this season has been crazy. But we better move on to your topic, otherwise I'm going to start spoilering things. So so please go ahead.
All right. So next is the World Championships. Right now, you haven't had any commentating in the GSTL, or have you? I
haven't. No, I've been. It's been kind of fun. I've been able to just go back to being strictly a fan, only a fan who gets to be actually at the studio every day and meeting the players and things like that. So a very fortunate fan for the GSTL. We'll put it that way.
So the World Championships, are you excited about that?
Yeah, extremely excited about it. I think the qualifiers have been awesome. I casted a lot of those games, and I think we've got some really good players coming out here. And yeah, I think the foreigners are going to be able to put up a fight. We'll see what happens. You mentioned
in the pre-show that you will be having a few foreigners stay in your house. How do you think that will be?
I'm actually really looking forward to getting to know everybody. I just love meeting people in general, so I can't wait to get to know those guys and see them play and talk StarCraft. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a ton of fun either way.
Now, will you be commentating any World Championship games?
I don't know. I don't think so. I did cast a bunch of the qualifiers, but I think they're going to have Tasteless and Artosis cast the actual event itself. But in any case, that's perfectly fine with me. When I came out here, the plan was to just cast Code A, so anything extra I get to do is just kind of icing on the cake as far as that goes. And I've been trying to stay pretty active in my casting. I'm finally going to put up some new stuff on YouTube here in the next couple days, ideally, and then you'll see some of the people caught the restream of the GSL World Championship qualifiers. I suddenly can't talk right now.
This is DoA, and
but
it's been a little.
Yeah, so I've been trying to cast a lot, but really mostly between seasons I've been concentrating on playing, just trying to get better at the game in general.
All right, so once again, going back to living in Korea, since it's a foreign country, you've got different currency, you've got a different language, you have different culture entirely. What are the challenges that you face on a daily basis living in Korea?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is definitely the language barrier, and it's fairly easy to learn to read Korean, and a lot of the signs are in what they call Konglish, which is basically English only spelled out with Korean characters. So it's really, really easy to get around, actually, like the subway and cabs and everything like that. It's no problem getting around in Seoul. It's just kind of talking to people can get a little bit difficult sometimes. But, you know, that's another thing that I'm trying to work on in my spare time, is trying to learn to speak a little bit of Korean. And it's tough. It'll take a long time, but, you know, something you have to sort of do if you're going to live in another country.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've lived in a lot of places around the world, and exactly as you said, the language is probably the hardest part. Thank goodness my mom actually did most of the shopping, like the grocery shopping, because for me, I couldn't imagine doing that. I mean, going to a grocery store where everything was not in English, so you wouldn't be able to tell what product you were buying, as well as to ask people, you know, prices and stuff like that. And normally, I mean, especially when I lived in Thailand for 2 years. Some of the groceries are not actually purchased at a veritable grocery store. It was purchased at like a stand or like something in the middle of the street. It was very cheap, but at the same time very delicious. But at the same time, it could be hard to communicate. So one day I'll maybe experience that for myself. But actually, or go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's always the first thing you should probably learn to do, is just learn how to buy things. That's kind of what I focus on. The first thing was hello, goodbye, and thank you, and then the second thing is how to navigate purchasing things.
Yeah, the first word I ever learned in Thai was tao rai, which means how much. As bargaining is a pretty big factor in Thai culture. But one thing is actually, what is the food situation like in the GOM TV Foreigner House?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, everybody basically buys their own food. It's just kind of like any other roommates. You know,
Mhm.
there's not a lot of food sharing that goes on. Everyone just buys their own stuff, and